Join us for our first overview of the new Mercedes E-Class facelift. Let's go! In the front, what we can see here, yeah, there is some wrap around still. First of all, you can see here, this is where the new front grille would actually continue. So the new front grille is wider. And this one is also the AMG line with my favorite diamond pins. There will also still be the Avant-Garde and Luxury line if you want a little bit different styling. Avant-Garde and AMG line are a little bit more similar. You know, the other luxury or exclusive styling will still have the star on the top, more classic styling. Well, the side profile is not really touched. There will be the sedan, of course, there will be the Estate, and all those facelift changes will also count for the Coupe and the Cabriolet version, but they will start with the sedan and the Estate, the T model, so to say, or T-Modell then in Germany. Here we have 20-inch wheels, the biggest one that are available. They fit, of course, to this AMG line. And all suspension, slight changes. You get a base suspension, adaptive suspension and the air suspension. Some changes there. We're going to talk to the engineer about that. And the car sits also a little bit lower than with those suspension to have a little bit more aerodynamic effect. Still, it will be very comfortable also sided on the inside. That's what the E-Class is also famous for. Another metal part they did touch is the rear trunk. So, the whole cover, and the reason for that is that the tail lamps, they will go like this. They are more horizontally, even now already in the sedan. This will also give a sportier look, and of course LED technology upgrade. So just open it like here. There you can see that's done, that it continues actually here with the light, and so they also had to change the metal there. Very interesting. So let's open the door to the interior. Oh, door closing sound. Yeah, I mean, that's okay. Not the best one we've heard, but not the worst one. But what's really cool, like on the inside, Artico leatherette is being used, for example. Then we have different decal elements. This one here, matte wood. Really nice. So you can get some new stylings. You get 5 new different wheel stylings, by the way. And then on the interior, we also have some visual changes. There will be new steering wheels, some duct tape still left here, but this is a sporty steering wheel, flat bottom. Duct tape, of course, because this one here in the prototype status still. And then you have a new steering wheel with integrated buttons, so they don't stand out. They have those integrated fields. I'm not so sure about that. I mean, it's more seamless as for the integration. Yes, the steering wheel itself looks sporty and cool. It's also quite thick. But then again, I would prefer the wheel jog. There was felt more metal-alike. I don't think that's a good upgrade quality-wise. It looks like in the new Golf or something. Not so sure about that. What's your take on that? What's really cool, however, new MBUX system, 2x 10.25 inch, left and right. It will always be that way, not like starting with analog gauges on the left and the rather crappy infotainment system base on the right and then upgrade to the better one. No, always like this. Even in the taxi models, which are like lowest spec versions for cheaper money, this will be the case like this. You will have proper GPS as well, and you'll have the voice recognition, like for the GPS route, getting some, guidance there, or like how's the weather, and hey Mercedes, change the temperature, whatever. So a lot of different functions we've always shown you in different reviews. We'll also test something of that very soon. Well, and if I take a seat just here, that's of course normal E-Class, very comfortable, very nice with those seats. You have different seat forms available, a sportier seat, a less sporty seat, and also seating material-wise. This one here is animal skin here at the moment, but they do offer a lot of different leatherette functions, animal-free. Also, especially in Europe, entry is fabric on the inside, leatherette outside. That's a perfect mix, by the way, so you don't have to spend so much more money. And of course, always this sportier, especially in the AMG line, dynamic microfiber inside, leatherette on the outside. This is also definitely a cool option. And steering wheel can be controlled, also up and down. Not sure if, like this, yeah, this is one still in the prototype stage. It will stay like this, but it will be possible either manually or electronically. There it is. Yeah, there. So that's the electronic control right here for the steering wheel. And you are, well, I mean, sometimes the steering wheel can block something off the screen, but it's actually quite okay as for the integration. It looks, of course, a little bit more high class, especially because the screens are more crisp. So definitely one of the most comfortable sedans on the market. And of course, also about the noise insulation, which we will again hear. There are those noise insulation packages. It's already silent in the base, and then you can add some insulation, and that's then one of the most silent cars on the market. Cool thing is we also have either the possibility to use the right thumb, like up and down, side, and so on, or go back to the home menu. Then we can also just use it via touch. That's possible, or then with the lower trackpad here. So that's also another possibility. So you have those, let's say, redundant controls. Yeah, and here in the lower part, everything remained the same. You can still have this manual input for the climate control. That's, I think, pretty cool. Of course, you can also use the voice command for the climates then if your web connection is all ready. And then matte wood again. This is really cool to have this open cell wood right there. Cup holders, USB-C in the front. So everything goes USB-C now, so one in the front for the smartphone connection. And again, this trackpad, driving mode selector, which will have more an effect when you have like adaptive suspension or air suspension. And then finally here, this split opening with 2 more USB supplies. And this is just for charging. So if I want to use then the Apple CarPlay or the Android Auto, which are available, I need to plug it in the front. So now that you also have then the smartphone connection for real. By the way, one new upgrade will also be the blind spot monitor, where you will see the triangle in the side mirror, will also now work for cyclists when the car is stationary. So far, it was only when the car was running, and then you have the blind spot monitor. Now also when it stands and cyclists are approaching from the rear, that's a good news, definitely. And here is also a different vehicle with the normal steering wheel, the non-sport steering wheel. There's still some duct tape because of prototype status, but you can see here there's no flat bottom. And also those buttons are, let's say, not separated. They are just 2 clusters. And again, you can see here how the cruise control is integrated. Then again, this thumb control for the one screen. And on the other side, you'll have the volume, which you can also swipe. And again, this for the right thumb to control the main infotainment screen and picking up the phone and so on. Now we have a secondary vehicle here where we have an American SIM card built in and also web connection here at the moment in this area. So we can test more of the MBUX voice input. Hey Mercedes, drive me to Las Vegas Strip. Hope doesn't take us to a strip club now.
I am starting route guidance to Las Vegas Strip, Nevada.
Yeah, so that worked. I mean, it doesn't work like every single time, but the more, the better you pronounce everything and the better the web connection is, the better it works also. And there we go. Then we're going right here to the strip. So we can activate the head-up display, for example, with the voice input, open the sunroof. But also, for example, hey Mercedes, how's the weather? And you don't have to wait for her to spell it, actually. You can just, speak it out then.
I'm sorry, can you...
How's the weather?
The weather is 57 degrees and clear in the current location.
There we go. You see here, we filmed that a little bit earlier. before the release because of the embargo. And what else we can do when we start the engine, we can also tell you something about the temperature. Hey Mercedes. Or we can use I don't have to say hey Mercedes, I can also press the button here. Set temperature to 72 degrees.
I'm setting the temperature on the driver's side to 72 degrees.
So that would be another use case. So different stuff you can do, and definitely very helpful here and also for the new E-Class. Well, and I told you that the trunk lid here has changed, especially in here with the split light. But the trunk itself did not really change. See here, it's actually quite wide opening. Goes also quite deep in there. There's then a step here inside, but not so many changes here. Of course, if you want to be more flexible, go for the Estate. But you can see here, height-wise, it also fits then with a normal backpack. And now we're driving along in this new E-Class facelift, joined here by Michael Kelz, the chief engineer for the E-Class, and of course also some other cars at Mercedes. So yeah, thanks so much for the ride along already. And
you're welcome.
Yeah, let's just talk about a little bit about the new engines and also assistance systems upgrades and what else have you done. So engine-wise, I heard there's more electrification as for other models, MHEV and also PHEV. So what's the big news there as for the engines?
So we are riding here in the new 4-cylinder integrated starter generator engine. So that's, you can say, the small brother of the 450. And that's now our latest engine, which will also come into the other car families time by time, but it's a launch in the E-Class.
So this one here, then a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine?
Absolutely, and it's supported by the electric motor, which is sitting between the engine and the gearbox. And this engine has about 200 kilowatts or about 270 horsepower.
Then plus some more horsepower from
some
this
the electric
boost
one.
and,
So finally, there you get 15 kilowatts additionally, which is about 22, something like this.
But this one is actually just the engine for Europe, so it won't come in the US?
This engine will in the E-Class not come in the US. This engine will first come to Europe. So because of quantities and so on, we decided to have it first in Europe built in. Later on, in other car lines and so on, the engine will also come to the US, no doubt. This is the future engine family of 4-cylinder engines of Mercedes.
So then you will just get the normal 2-liter 4-cylinder engine for the US market?
The actual one, which is also a 48-volt system, but it's a belt-driven system and not an integrated system like this one here.
Okay, so it's still already an MHEV? But not like such a sophisticated one, so to say.
Yeah, the difference is really that in the one hand, on the actual one, on the so-called M264, this is a belt-driven system, so the starter generator is sitting and driving the belt. And in this car, the starter generator is sitting in between the motor and the gearbox, so it's working directly.
So that's even better for fuel economy and for the boost, or just for one, or for both? Or?
It's for both better, and it's also smoother, and the integration is better. So sailing mode and getting in and out of sailing mode, eco driving can be done a little bit better than on the other engine. But in general, it's both 48-volt systems.
Well, now we want to have another parking demonstration because we heard that system has been upgraded as well. So what's like the real news with the new parking in the camera?
The real news is on the one side, and I think we can show this, is that we have another camera, that we have another sign hub where you can see your surrounding about the car, and then in the end with this little line this is going around the car, you can exactly see what the sensors are seeing on the other hand. And if we go back on the stuff, we can also get our finger here, and then finally we can choose other views.
So it's like right and left next to the wheels.
Right and left, what do you want, or if we can choose again the front, or we can also choose like going to the back. So finally, with our motion camera up here, that sees this and brings these pictures up. So, and what you can also see is if I turn the wheel, then finally you can see more where you go to, because then, as you can see here, down here in the area, the whole camera situation goes to that side where you also go.
Is it actually the camera that is moving, or
No.
is it just zooming, or like
It's
panning
zooming
in the picture?
electronically,
Yeah.
because if I would take this wide angle, you would lose the orientation. It's anyway already that you have a lot of from the picture on both of the sides. So finally, if that would be even bigger, then your way to go would get smaller and smaller. And so we decided to move the cutout of the system then.
And you also upgrade like this autonomous version?
The autonomous
you know, like,
version we also upgraded, so finally we can park in a quicker way. Here actually we have only one car, so finally we cannot demonstrate this. But in the end, in our driving demonstrations later on, we will also show how the parking is working faster and more exact. And the car can also orientate really at the lines, and then finally exactly position the car between the lines if there is no other car on the side. So those things also have changed.
Thank you. And now to our conclusion for today with the new Mercedes E-Class facelift. On the exterior, the styling will be sportier than before, of course, especially in the AMG line with the front grille and also those 20-inch wheels. Driving-wise, there won't be so many changes. Yes, those assistance systems upgrade, that's of course quite nice. For me, I think the best one is, that you have the static blind spot monitor that really warns for an upcoming cyclist. But of course, the interior, that's the most important aspect with the new MBUX system, with the voice recognition. That's really very helpful in your everyday driving life. And of course, with those dual screens for all E-Class versions. That's, I think, also very important, that you don't have like, you start with this version, then upgrade to this, and right and left. No, always like this. And even, as I said earlier, even for like those taxi models, which are usually way cheaper, it's good to have just this one, as a base layout, and that's it. That will be pretty helpful. So what do you think? Please leave us your comments. And also, if you are an E-Class customer of whatever generation, please state your experience in our comment sections. It's always great to have the real customer experience with E-Class, maybe good or bad or something in between. Tell us your experience, and see you also at the full driving review, which will be coming up soon. We'll keep you updated. Thanks so much. See you there.